Imagine walking into a luxury car showroom, and everyone laughs at you. The staff looks you up and down, whispers behind your back, and treats you like you don't belong. But what if the person they just insulted was one of Hollywood's biggest stars, a man worth millions, and they had no idea who he was? This is the unbelievable true story of how Keanu Reeves turned humiliation into the most powerful lesson in humility. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now let's dive into what really happened. You won't believe what happened when one of Hollywood's most humble stars walked into a luxury car showroom, dressed like an ordinary man. It was a bright, golden afternoon in Los Angeles. The sun shimmered off the polished metal of exotic cars parked outside Imperial Motors, one of the most elite luxury car dealerships in the city. Inside, the scent of new leather and fresh polish filled the air. The showroom sparkled, walls of glass, spotless floors, and rows of million-dollar machines gleaming like jewels under perfect white lights. Salesmen moved around in crisp suits, greeting wealthy clients. There were business tycoons checking out the newest Bentley, a few social media influencers recording videos near a Rolls-Royce, and even a local celebrity sipping coffee while finalizing a deal. This was the kind of place where money spoke louder than manners. Then, the glass door opened with a soft chime. A man walked in quietly, wearing a simple black hoodie, old jeans, and slightly worn sneakers. His long hair was tied loosely, his face calm and gentle. He didn't wear designer clothes or flashy accessories. There were no bodyguards, no photographers, no signs of fame or fortune. That man was Keanu Reeves, but no one recognized him. As he slowly walked past a gleaming Aston Martin, he admired the design with genuine curiosity, almost like a child fascinated by art. But to the staff, he looked out of place. One salesman, tall and sharply dressed, noticed him and frowned. He approached Keanu with a stiff posture, eyes narrowing as he scanned him from head to toe. "Sir," he said in a cold, dismissive tone, "these cars start at $300,000. Maybe you'd be more comfortable at another dealership." Keanu gave a polite smile. "Oh, I just wanted to look around," he replied softly. The salesman crossed his arms. "We don't usually allow people to just look around. These vehicles are for serious buyers only." Nearby, two women glanced over. One whispered, half laughing, "He looks homeless. What's he even doing here?" But Keanu didn't react. His calm, humble demeanor didn't change. He simply nodded, thanked the man quietly, and continued walking, while the salesman followed behind, making sure he didn't touch anything. No one there could have imagined who they had just insulted or what was about to happen next. Within minutes, the quiet air of the showroom turned into a storm of whispers and judgment. Keanu, who had quietly been admiring the cars, could feel the tension grow around him, the kind of cold silence that speaks louder than words. He knew exactly what was happening, but he stayed calm, as he always did. The salesman who had earlier dismissed him called over one of his colleagues. They stood a few feet away, pretending to check inventory on a tablet, but their voices carried just enough for Keanu to hear. "Man," the first one muttered mockingly, "this guy actually thinks he can afford an Aston Martin. He probably came in just to take selfies with the cars." The other salesman smirked. "Or maybe he's a mechanic," he whispered back. "Just wants to see what a real car looks like." Both chuckled under their breath, clearly enjoying their little joke. A couple of nearby customers overheard and joined in with quiet laughter. One man in a designer jacket shook his head, whispering to his partner, "Some people really don't know their place." Keanu heard every word, but instead of reacting, he just smiled faintly, the same soft, understanding smile that had won millions of hearts across the world. He moved toward a limited edition Bugatti, admiring it not as a trophy of wealth, but as a piece of art, every curve, every detail, every bit of engineering precision. For Keanu, cars were not about showing off. They were about creation, the human brilliance behind them. But in that showroom, no one saw that. All they saw was a man who didn't belong. Then came the final blow. The manager, a tall man with slick back hair and an expensive suit, walked over briskly. His expression was stern, his tone firm. "Excuse me, sir," he said. "If you're not planning to make a purchase, I'll have to ask you to leave. This isn't a museum. The entire showroom went silent. All eyes turned to Keanu. Some customers even raised their phones, ready to record what they thought would be a funny, embarrassing moment. Keanu stood quietly for a second, looking around at the people's faces, the laughter, the arrogance, the assumptions. Then, with a gentle nod, he said softly, "No problem. I didn't mean to cause trouble." He smiled, that same warm, genuine smile, and turned to leave. No one in that room knew that the man they had just laughed at was one of the most respected and beloved actors in the world. But they were about to find out very soon. The story could have ended right there. Another day, another moment of silent humiliation. But destiny had something completely different in store. Barely 20 minutes after Keanu Reeves had quietly walked out of the showroom, the staff at Imperial Motors noticed something unusual. Outside, a small crowd was gathering near the entrance. The sound of engines rumbling grew louder. Then, a convoy of black SUVs pulled up in front of the dealership. Their sleek, polished bodies gleamed under the California sun. Security personnel stepped out first, followed by men in professional suits carrying folders and briefcases. The energy inside the showroom changed instantly. Salesmen straightened their ties. The manager fixed his blazer, trying to look calm though his heartbeat had quickened. Customers turned their heads, whispering, "Who's that?" Someone important, maybe a billionaire. And then, from the first SUV, the same man in the black hoodie stepped out, calm, collected, and with that same gentle smile. It was Keanu Reeves. But this time, he wasn't alone. Behind him walked two senior representatives from Aston Martin USA, accompanied by a few staff members carrying documents and design portfolios. Their demeanor was formal, their respect for Keanu undeniable. The moment he entered, the entire showroom fell silent. The manager's confident posture vanished. His face went pale as he realized the gravity of his mistake. Keanu walked back in, the same soft tone in his voice as before. "Oh," he said with a faint smile, "I think we can continue our conversation now." The Aston Martin representative stepped forward, shaking his hand with admiration. "Mr. Reeves," he said, his tone full of respect, "the new prototype model is ready for your review. We're honored to have you here in person." The staff stood frozen. Their world tilted in that moment. The man they had mocked, judged, and pushed out was Keanu Reeves, one of the most respected and beloved actors on the planet. Star of the Matrix, John Wick, and Speed. A few employees exchanged stunned glances. The salesman who had insulted him earlier felt his throat tighten. The laughter that once echoed in the showroom was now replaced with pure silence and disbelief. They hadn't just misjudged a customer. They had humiliated a legend. And now, that legend was standing right in front of them, with nothing but calmness and kindness in his eyes. The atmosphere inside the showroom had completely changed. Just moments ago, people were whispering and laughing, but now, they stood frozen in disbelief. The same man they looked down on, mocked, and dismissed was none other than Keanu Reeves, one of the most respected and admired actors in the world. Everyone waited for his reaction. Some expected anger. Others feared humiliation. The manager's palms were sweaty, and the salesman who had insulted Keanu earlier could barely make eye contact. He knew his career might be over. But Keanu stayed calm. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't show pride or arrogance. Instead, he looked directly at the salesman and smiled gently, a smile so genuine it disarmed everyone around him. "You know," he began softly, "we all make mistakes. Sometimes what you see isn't always what's real." Those words hung in the air like a quiet echo. There was no bitterness in his tone, just wisdom, understanding, and grace. The salesman swallowed hard, his voice trembling. "Sir, I didn't realize who you were. I'm so sorry." Keanu nodded kindly. "It's okay. I'm not mad. Just remember, kindness doesn't cost anything." The simplicity of that line hit harder than any insult could. Everyone in the room felt it. The arrogance, the laughter, the judgment, all melted away in that single moment of humility. And then, with calm confidence, Keanu walked toward the Aston Martin representatives. "Let's finalize the order," he said. "I'll take 2 custom models, one for myself, and one I'd like to donate for a children's hospital charity auction." The staff gasped. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. Not only did he forgive them, he was giving more than anyone expected. As the paperwork began, the salesman stood in silence, tears forming in his eyes. He had learned a lesson he would never forget, a lesson not about cars, but about character. Keanu didn't need revenge. His grace, composure, and kindness were enough to turn an embarrassing encounter into an unforgettable life lesson for everyone watching. And in that moment, the entire showroom understood why Keanu Reeves isn't just a movie star. He's a real-life example of what true greatness looks like. The next few days turned Imperial Motors upside down. What had started as a quiet afternoon turned into a global story that no one could have imagined. A bystander, a young man who happened to be sitting in the showroom, had secretly recorded parts of the incident on his phone. He uploaded the video online with the caption, "Luxury car dealership insults a man," then realizes it's Keanu Reeves. Within hours, the internet exploded. The video spread across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, collecting millions of views overnight. The world watched in awe as Keanu Reeves, humiliated for his simple appearance, responded with nothing but kindness and calmness. Comments flooded in from every corner of the world. That's why Keanu is loved by everyone. He's proof that class isn't about money, it's about character. This man just taught humanity a masterclass in humility. News outlets picked up the story. Headlines read, "Keanu Reeves stuns car dealership with graceful response," and "Hollywood star shows the world what true class looks like." Meanwhile, the dealership, overwhelmed by the backlash, issued a formal public apology. The manager released a statement admitting that his team had made a terrible mistake and that they were deeply sorry for the way Mr. Reeves was treated. But Keanu didn't post a single word about it. He didn't respond online. He didn't shame the dealership. He didn't need to. A week later, during an interview, a reporter gently asked him about the viral video. Keanu just smiled that familiar, humble smile and said quietly, "I don't judge people for how they treat me. I notice how they treat others when they think no one is watching." Those words went viral again, more powerful than any headline. They reminded people that real greatness isn't found in fame, money, or status. It's found in character. And that's the beauty of Keanu Reeves. A man who could live like a superstar, but chooses to live like a simple human being. So, the next time you see someone who looks ordinary, remember this story. Because you never know, that quiet, humble person standing in front of you might just be someone extraordinary.